All right, we're back doing another tier list video, but this time we're going to go back and do all of the bosses from base Elden Ring. The DLC tier list did awesome for the channel. It absolutely popped off, so I thought it'd be fun to go back and do a tier list video of all of the big remembrance bosses because I haven't beaten every single boss in every single dungeon in Elden Ring. It just hasn't happened yet. Um, but all of the big, story remembrance bosses that the game essentially forces you to fight or you should have fought. Most of these are achievement bosses. But I actually just finished my new game plus run, so I have a little bit of a fresher taste as to what the bosses are. And a comment that mentioned on my DLC video said sometimes your opinion on bosses changes when you've had a chance to fight them multiple times because they become easier or you know less interesting once you've beaten them once. So let's just go in order here. Renala, I'm gonna put in C tier. Um, it's not a super interesting fight. It kind of is the first fight that I engaged with where it made me realize that the environment that I'm fighting my enemy in can be really, really, really cool. Um, Especially like the capabilities of Elden Ring, because her final arena and her final phase is so sick. She's way too easy of a boss. I had a harder time fighting the Red Wolf of Radagon than Renala. She goes down way too easy. Her second phase does have an attack that can basically kill you if you get caught by it, but other than that, like it's such a free fight. Um, Godric the Grafted, I it's between A and B for me. I think I'm gonna keep him in high B, but I could see an argument for A. Godric is really cool. I really love his weapon. I love his voice acting. Um, he's a really cool boss. He's the second boss that I fought. Um, he has really cool attack patterns, and his second phase is sick. Like that cutscene of him putting the dragon and grafting it onto his arm. It is so sick. It's making me want to put it in A tier, but I think there's gonna be a lot of cool bosses coming up. Commander Neil, I'm gonna put in C tier, but for a different reason than Renala. I just didn't have fun fighting Commander Neil. It's not a hard fight once you learn how to do it. He's kind of just like a late roller kind of boss, but he has a lot of attacks that have like lingering effects or like they force you to get away from him, like his snow storm blizzard attack. He just wasn't a fun fight. He summons two guys to protect him at the very beginning. I don't know. It's just not a super sick fight for me. I like the location of the fight, but I'm just not a huge fan. Um, this is Loretta Knight of the Hallig Tree, and I think I'm also gonna put Loretta in B. I might move Godric in the middle of this tier list. We'll see. Loretta was a very interesting fight because Loretta is very similar to Royal Knight Loretta, which I'm assuming is somewhere down here. Maybe not, but very similar fight. It wasn't that much harder. It was just fighting the boss, but without it being like a hologram or a spirit or whatever. Um, it was cool. I beat Loretta on my first try. Royal Knight Loretta, I did not beat first try, but the Loretta I did beat first try. Really cool area. Not a hard fight, just an okay boss. I'm gonna put it in B tier. Um, Red Wolf of Radagon, I also kind of just want to put in B tier. This boss is not hard. I struggled on it a little bit in the very beginning because it's like a faster paced boss. It doesn't have a lot of HP, but it's a faster paced fight for sure. It went down pretty easy though. I personally struggled more with the Red Wolf of Renala, but now I'm gonna move based on this ranking. I should be putting this lower because Red Wolf doesn't have that much cool stuff going on for it, which makes sense. Yeah, we'll put it below Commander Neil because I think these fights are definitely cooler than the Red Wolf. Um, Godskin Apostle, I'm gonna put in C tier. Nothing is cool about the Godskin Apostle looks sick, but you fight it like 4 times throughout the game. You fight it once with the Godskin Duo, once in the tower in Kaled, once at the top left corner of the map, in the plateau. I don't know. It's just like it. This is definitely the easier of the two between the Godskin Noble. In my opinion, the Apostle's way easier. I think the Apostle's cooler than the Noble. In fact, I'll just grab the Noble. I don't like the Noble fight at all. I'm gonna put Noble in D tier. I think he's really tanky and his attacks are super annoying to dodge. He's not a hard fight per se, but like when I'm fighting the Godskin Duo, for example, I take out the Noble first because the Noble is just so annoying. I don't use sleeping pods. I never have, but I'm assuming that fight makes that makes the Godskin Duo fight significantly easier because I have seen the runs that people do. But yeah, the Noble is definitely the most annoying out of these two. It's just not a fun fight. The rolling is kind of cool, I guess, but I don't know. Um, this fight also, in my opinion, isn't anything super special. I mean, it was a cool fight the first time. I wandered into it in New Game Plus. I actually didn't fight this boss in my New Game run, but I did in my New Game Plus run. I'm basically trying to decide if I like this fight more than Renala, and I don't think I did. I think that it kind of goes like right here because I like it better than Commander Neil, but not as much as Renala. Um, Rykard was one of my favorite fights. Yeah, I like the way that they did this gimmick. It's a classic gimmick, like a classic Dark Souls gimmick weapon boss fight where they give you a weapon, and basically that's the only way you can beat the boss. It was really well done. I had so much fun fighting Rykard. His voice acting is so good when you get to his second phase. One of the most iconic lines. We can devour the gods together. Everyone loves him. Um, Really cool fight. I loved Rykard so much. Volcano Manor was such a cool area. Great environment. Cool gimmick. I loved this fight. Rykard is so sick. And I will say, before I start ranking more of these, something that I'm really interested in is this one. I feel like there's going to be way more subject to different opinions. I feel like with the DLC list, a lot of people commented, saying stuff like, "Oh, I would move this, or I would move this," and it's like I can definitely, I would agree with you. But this one, I feel like is going to be way more subjective than the DLC tier list because there's just so many good bosses. Like I wouldn't even say Renala is like, in retrospect, she's a C tier. Like if I'm comparing her to every other boss in the game, but like if I had to give her an overall ranking for her fight, it probably wouldn't be C tier. I just don't want to flood the S, A, and B tier. With the DLC, I feel like there's an upper hierarchy of there's a clear separation of the top fights. But in Elden Ring, I feel like that's less noticeable. Um, the Fire Giant, I want to put in. It's between A and B for me. I'm probably gonna put the Fire Giant above. I'm gonna put a. I can't really. I'm gonna put the Fire Giant at the top of B. This fight was not super hard for me. It took me a couple tries. I would say like anywhere from like 5 to 7 tries. The second phase cutscene, dude. That's what I'm noticing about all these bosses. They all have amazing second phase cutscenes. They're so good. The Fire Giant is no exception. Um, it's just such a fun. It's a fun fight. His attacks have a lot of hit stuns, so they're very easy to dodge. He's not a super hard fight. He leads up to one of the cool cutscenes in the game, the Forge with Melina. Cool area. I don't know. I like the Fire Giant. It's not anything super special, but it was a cool fight. The Valiant Gargoyle I'm gonna put in E tier just because I'm like, why? It's not this fight was not insanely hard for me. I was using at this point in the run, I want to say at this point when I fought the gargoyles, I was using a Dex build, and I think I was using the Eleonora Pole Blade when I fought these guys. It took me 2 tries because I died to the second gargoyle that comes in. This fight is super annoying. Everyone talks about the gargoyle fight. It's super like not fun. It's not hard, but it's not a fun fight. The mimic tier, this is a boring fight. I don't know, D or E, something like that. I don't know. This fight isn't hard. You get the mimic tier. I've never used the mimic tier. My mimic tier is still like the base level. I've never summoned. I don't even think I have enough faith to summon it. I don't know, nothing too special. It's very easy fight. Godfrey the First Elden Lord. Now this is important. This is not the hologram. This is the real one. I don't know. Do they separate Horaloo, or is Horaloo the same fight? Because in my opinion, this might be a hot take, but I'm putting Godfrey in S tier. Godfrey, in my opinion, was my favorite fight in the base game. Besides someone who's coming up, it's very obvious if you've seen my DLC cover list. Godfrey is such a sick fight. Everything about him. His first phase is very fair. He hits hard, but all of his attacks like have a telegraph to some point, so it's all reaction time based. Once you learn all of the way to dodge, like you're not going to get hit by anything cheap. He doesn't have any stupid gimmicks. He's just a straight up one-on-one fight, and it feels like a fight between a lord and a lord. Like, and I can't express how important that is in a fight. It makes it feel so authentic and fun when you're fighting bosses like that. I don't care if he's easier than other fights. Like, my favorite fight is not just gonna be the hardest fight. Godfrey he's like Mydra, in my opinion. Mydra, the DLC fight. It's such a fair, like, when you die, it's not the boss's fault. Like, you die, it's your fault. You died because you did something wrong. And then when he goes into his second phase, the cutscene is sick. He becomes a complete different type of fight. He becomes a grappler, like a thrower. it's so sick, and it's not any like more difficult. It's just it was such a cool fight before going to the ending. I love that it was right before the final boss. Like, God, I just so much high praise. The music, this fight is awesome. Um, I cannot read this. Something Knight and Misbegotten. Oh, Misbegotten. I'm kind of gonna put this on the same tier of Elmer of the Briar. I kind of put these two. I don't know. I didn't fight either of these guys until my New Game Plus because these are both achievement bosses that I didn't encounter on my first playthrough, I believe. Um, I don't. Yeah, these guys are. I feel like I might not have actually fought in this one. I'd have to check. But if it is who I think it is, then I'm putting them on the same like C tier. Um, Margit the Fell Omen. This is the first story boss you're supposed to encounter in the game, and I kind of have a certain like. I'm gonna put this guy in B tier. I love the difficulty of this boss. Um, this guy humbled me uh, on my first playthrough. And that's kind of I feel like what he's supposed to do. It feels very intentional. Um, I I personally don't use summons, but he set me back quite a bit fighting him because I don't know. I didn't go out and explore. I didn't level up. I didn't, and because I didn't do that, this fight took me like 3 or 4 hours to beat. I just tried to go right into him, like right off the bat, not level up, not grind stuff, not get weapons, like, and it made me struggle significantly. I did eventually take him down, but going back and fighting him again on my New Game Plus playthrough, it was a joke. He goes, I didn't even get hit. You, he's one of those bosses where he destroys you, or I feel like a lot of people get destroyed by him early on, and then you go back and fight him again, and you will never ever lose to him ever again. Once you beat him once, you're done. Like you've grown so much as a player, and that's something that I love about Elden Ring. Once you've beaten the game once, you have grown so much as a player that you can go back and you can basically do every boss again. Um, Radon, I'm gonna put in S tier. I never got to fight Radon pre nerf, so when he came out, but I kind of wish I did because I heard he was ridiculously difficult. Everything about this fight is sick. Um, the fact that it triggers the Star Festival. I love his lore. I love his intro cutscene. I love everything about him. The fact that he is a general who is forced to wander in purgatory, being infected by scarlet rot. The coolest part about this fight, in my opinion, is leading up into the DLC. Is the fact that this guy, you're fighting him. He's using gravity magic to keep his horse up. He is infected with scarlet rot. He is like a shell of what he normally is. Like you're fighting him in his weakened state, and he's so menacing. He's so powerful. You can summon in people to help you fight. You can ride torrent. There's so many ways you can go about doing this fight. All of his attacks are super cool and menacing. God, I love Radon. His music is amazing. Radon is S tier for me. Fortisax, I just had a chance to fight Fortisax on my second playthrough. So on the first playthrough, I did Rolana's questline, not Rolana, Ronnie's questline. So I got to fight. I did Placidusax and all that. Astral, Estelle. This I did as Fia's questline, and this fight is. It's probably right here for me. It's right before A. My friend has Fortisax above Placidusax. I'm gonna put Placidusax above Fortisax later on in the list. I'll show you when we. Oh, which is he's next. I'm gonna put. I think I again it. I don't want to flood S tier. So I'm gonna kind of just note that I could move these up to S tier. Fortisax is such a sick fight. The music was great. I loved this boss fight. Everything about it was great. Both of these dragons are so sick. But in my opinion, Placidusax comes a little bit further ahead. I think the design of Placidusax is way cooler. Two dragons that have been melded together. I think the lore between Placidusax and Bale is awesome. Like that's the thing that I'm learning about these bosses is you get a new appreciation after beating the DLC and learning more lore, coming back and fighting them. You'll see about Moog. But God, both of these fights were just so well done. I loved both of them. Both of these are so sick. I think they're even. I think both of them could go in S tier, and I might move them up later on. But this like the Placidusax, the phases with the lasers, and they're just so menacing. I love it. The music is great. They're so good. Morgoth the Omen King. Um, I don't quite want to put him in A, but I'm trying to think. I'd put him above Loretta. I don't think I'd put him above. He's in this 3, like this area right here. I'm gonna put him here for now. Morgoth is so sick. I love his intro cutscene when you fight him for the first time, talking about the Golden Order and all of the gods that like you're taking on or you're gonna take on. He's such a menacing fight because you fought Margit the Fellowman, and his attacks are very similar to Margit the Fellowman, but they're just different enough to where he'll catch you off guard. His second phase caught me off guard so many times when he does his transformation. It looks like he's staggered, but he's actually not. His weapon becomes so much cooler, going from his cane to like that dagger, that blade he has. It's so sick. Um, I'm almost debating on putting him like right here. I just like Godric a lot too, though. I'm probably gonna put him above Morgoth. I'm actually gonna put him above the Fire Giant. I'll put him at the top of B. Really cool fight. Enjoyed Morgoth a lot. Um, let's go Moog. Moog, I'm gonna put in S tier. Moog is so sick. Um, apparently, I heard that there was a lot of hate for Moog with the whole Mikola thing. People were talking about like his relation to Mikola, and people hated on him. But then when they found out he was innocent and it was like Mikola brainwashing him or whatever, everyone loves him now. I love him. He has my favorite attack in the game. His Tres Dos Unos Nihil is an experience I love watching, like streamers, YouTubers, everyone doing their first playthrough of the game, fighting Moog, and them just watching their health bar drop, and there's nothing they can do about it. It is so entertaining because he just kills you if you're not ready for it, or if you don't have the flask, your physic, Lord of Blood physic. Everything about this guy is sick. His first phase is super fair. He punishes you for panic rolling very consistently. And his second phase punishes you for playing long range. You have to hug this guy. His second phase is so easy once you learn that you just need to stay right next to him. He moves around a lot, though, so even then it's not an easy fight. I would probably rank this as the second hardest fight in the game, behind Melania. I'm looking, and I think that's probably where I would put it. Radagon and the Elden Beast are hard, but I think I struggled more with Moog. This is more of an endurance fight. But yeah, I'm putting Moog in S tier. I love him. I love his voice. His voice actor is on point, dude. I love the fact that he's like the least threatening, kind soul person ever, but he's like it's so great. The beginning of our dynasty. What a champion. Malekith is also S tier. Oh my god, there's so many S tier bosses in this game. Yeah, okay. Malekith I'm putting in S tier. This fight is so sick. Everything. Dude, the reason I started playing Elden Ring is because my friend showed me a clip of him fighting Malekith for the first time, and he does the cutscene where death become my blade once more, stabbing, pulling the sword. It is so sick, dude. Everything about this game. Oh my god, the bosses are so nice. This boss is super. I finished my New Game Plus. This boss killed me a couple times my New Game Plus playthrough, just because I wasn't ready for a lot of his multi-hit attacks that I kind of forgot about. He moves around a lot in his second phase, but I like the fact that his first phase is, if you've encountered him before, it's the Beast Clergyman. If you've done his quest line, and then you fight him, it's so sick. The music is great. God, this fight is good. Fierce Champions, I don't know, probably a C tier. Nothing too special in my opinion. It's not a cool fight. It's just Maybe I might move it down to D tier because it's kind of like the same as the Mimic tier for me. Radagon, I'm gonna put an A, but below the dragons and above. I think that Radagon gave me goosebumps. The scene where you fight Radagon for the first time, and they're hung up by the rune arc, and the rune arc shatters, and Radagon holds up the his hammer, and the main theme starts playing, is probably one of the top moments for me in Elden Ring. It is so good. I could look back fondly, and I think I'll get goosebumps every time I see it. It is so good. But I'm gonna lower Radagon. Radagon is a fight I would rate as an A. The Elden Beast, I hate. This might be a hot take, but I hate the Elden Beast fight. It is really annoying that in the end game you fight Malekith. You fight one of this guy is super sick. He took me so many tries. He's really hard. He prevents healing and does bleed and all this stuff. You fight Godfrey. This guy took a couple tries. He's a a warrior. He does hammer and he charges at you and tries to grab you, and it's so aggressive. And then you fight Radagon, and Radagon's super aggressive, and his attacks multi-hit, and he's moving around a lot, and he's teleporting and shooting lightning bolts. And then the final boss of the game is a giant creature that swims away from you the entire time. This fight annoyed me a lot. It just felt, I don't want to say it felt lazy because it's not lazy, but his AI is awful. They did just recently change it so you can use torrent in his boss fight, which will probably help a lot, but when I fought him, there was no torrent. It's just so annoying to me that all of these bosses are so like classic Elden Ring, like so, you know, classic Souls, and then you fight a giant creature like kind of without, and it's not without explanation, but it's kind of without explanation, and then he just runs away from you the whole time. Like you get 3 hits, he runs away. You get 3 hits, he runs away. It's just annoying, man. If I could rate Radagon separately, I'd probably rate Radagon A or B just because the feeling. But I would rate the Elden Beast fight like a C. I was really unsatisfied with the ending of the game, honestly. But it felt good to beat him. It did felt good. It just felt like a big boss with a lot of HP that swims away and has flashy attacks just to kind of be an ending fight, as opposed to like these felt in place. You know, these felt very important, necessary. This last fight, I don't know. I didn't like it that much. Godskin Duo, I'm gonna put. I don't. This fight isn't great. I don't know. It's iconic because once you realize that you taking down both of them doesn't mean shit, and that they have a shared health pool, and you essentially have to kill 4 of them to finish the boss fight. I mean, it's cool. Like it's cool, but that's it. You've already fought the Godskin Apostle at this point. You've already beaten the Godskin Noble at this point. You're just fighting both of them at the same time. There's nothing special. It's an annoying fight. It's not that hard. Melania. I'm gonna put Melania in A. Melania is a boss that if you beat her, you were probably way more well off in the DLC than in the base, than if you went in without beating her. She's a hard fight, man. I was not ready for it. It took me, I want to say 7 hours to beat her. I was using the Eleonora Pull Blade at the time when I fought this boss. I was using the Eleonora Pull Blade here, I believe, and then I switched builds and then came back to it for Melania. It took a lot out of me. I got Melania to about 2-shot on my like 4th try, and then I never got there for another like 5 hours. Like it was crazy. She shit on me. She humbled me. She taught me to play more patiently. She taught me that it is almost always correct to stay as close to the boss as possible unless they have like an AoE like around them attack. But this, I mean, this boss was, I loved Melania. Her voice lines are so good. Like I've never known defeat. I am Melania Blade and Mikola. Like it's just so good. I liked this fight a lot. I liked it better than Morgott, so I think this is a fair rating. I don't think I liked it as much as Rykard, so I think this is a fair ranking. I could swap them, because I felt way more joy beating Melania than I did Rykard, but I don't know. I'm not rating them just solely based on how I felt after I beat him. I am proud I beat Melania though. Regal, this fight in my opinion gets a C tier. Not a hard fight at all. In fact, it's probably the easiest fight out of everyone here, maybe besides like Mimic tier. Insanely easy fight. This boss has no HP. The arena is really cool, and you do fight the regular ancestor spirit, and then fighting the regal one, it's slightly different. Not a hard fight, but there's just not a lot going for it. It is a cool fight though. That's why I'm rating it higher than like the Godskin Duo. I'd probably rate it higher than the Apostle. I'd probably rate it higher than the Red Wolf, and then I would probably rate it higher than this, but this is probably in this range right here in this list. This like grouping of 4 is where I would put it. Magma Wormmaker, I mean, probably here. The Magma Wormmaker is not a cool fight in my opinion. You fight the Magma Worm to get the Moonveil Katana in the, I don't remember the name of the dungeon. I forgot. Stormveil or something. I forgot. But the Magma Wormmaker is like not any different. It's fighting a guy that spits. It's fighting a giant lizard that spits lava in a short little cave. Like, I don't know. This fight isn't that cool in my opinion. I probably wouldn't rate it that high. I don't. It's kind of hard to rate bosses that are like one-trick ponies. I don't really know. Not as cool as the Godskin Duo, but better than the Noble probably. This is probably where I'd put it. Oh, the Misbegotten Warrior is different. I see. Well, Leonine Misbegotten goes in this range for me anyway. I don't think that this fight is that cool. Probably in the same ballpark again as the Regal Ancestral Spirit. This is the fight that I didn't do until my second playthrough, I believe. I don't know if this boss is forced, but if it's not, then I definitely didn't do it on my first playthrough because I'm pretty sure I didn't have the achievement. Nothing too special about this fight in my opinion. Flying Dragon Agil. I don't know if this is the one you fight on the edge of the building, but if it isn't, then I don't believe I fought this guy. There's a dragon that you fight in Farum Azula. There is a dragon that you fight in Farum Azula on the balcony. And that, like, I don't know, dragon fights, besides these two, dragon fights aren't all that for me. I don't get the thrill out of fighting dragons. There's the ice dragon that you fight when you get to the mountaintop of the giants. That one was kind of cool. There's the dragon that you fight on the side of the Colosseum in Farum Azula, or whatever, that uses the red lightning attacks. I don't remember fighting this guy though, so I may have beaten him, but I just don't remember, so I'm not going to rank him. Sir Gideon, Sir Gideon, I think is worthy of C tier, just for his surprise factor. Sir Gideon Ofnir is such a funny fight for me because it was one of those where it's like, oh, is he going to turn into something? Oh, is he going to summon something? Oh, do I have to kill him first? And then he just one-shots me. Just like fucking pulls out a Kamehameha beam and just destroys me. I was not ready for this. It's not a hard fight, not at all. Once you just run up and attack him, like, you're gonna kill him. But this fight caught me off guard, and his voice acting is funny. So I think for that reason enough, he gets at least C tier. Like, he's better than the gods can do, in my opinion. Estelle, I'm gonna put in A tier. In fact, I'm gonna put Estelle above Rykard, but below Fortisax. Estelle is really cool. I really liked this fight. Doing Ronnie's questline. This is the final boss of Ronnie's questline. This boss is super sick. You fight a lot of creatures that kind of look like this, like to have like the head that, like, you know, comes down when you do Ronnie's questline. This one is the coolest. You get teleported to a cool, like, universal galaxy arena. There's like stars and lights and beams and comets, and it's so sick. This fight is really cool. Really enjoyed this fight. Just for its scenery, the attacks are really cool. The music's great. Like, God, this one's really good. The Dragonkin Soldier, I don't think this one's any special. I would probably put it in like D tier, probably in the same tier as like the Magma War Maker. Nothing that cool. And then I'm gonna put the Falling Star Beast just in E. It's not a hard fight. It really isn't. But like, it's not a fun one. I don't know. I just don't like fighting. It's really easy to stagger, but it just runs around a lot. As a matter of fact, this guy is the reason I got one of my first like loyal followers on Twitch. Random guy joined my stream. Shout out to Sephiroth, but he joined and was fighting this guy with a magic build, and he couldn't do it. So he just asked me to join his world, and we took him on together and beat him. And he's been like a loyal follower since. And I really, that was just an awesome moment for me. That was one of the things that like sparked my interest in like content creation, was like that bond that I made. I feel like it was really cool to just connect, you know, over just like a boss in Elden Ring. Super cool. But I'm looking at the list and I'm not upset with it. I think this is the final list I'm gonna go with. Yeah. There were a lot of I don't want to say a lot of controversial takes, but I had some controversial takes. Just keep in mind, like, this is my opinion. This is how much I enjoyed every boss where I would rank them based off of my own personal bias. This is not the correct tier list. I'm not saying this is like the tier list for Elden Ring bosses. This is just my personal opinion. Having played the game twice, there's so many good bosses in this game. Like, even the Falling Star Beast, like, in retrospect, it's not a bad boss. I need to make like a bell curve in my mind, and I think he just ends up being here if you compare him to all the other bosses. But yeah, I think this is my final list. Let me know what you guys think. Yeah, my last Elden Ring DLC boss tier list video did really good. I'm hoping this one does good too. I will be doing a Dark Souls 3 boss tier list, but I'm debating playing through the game again because I haven't played through Dark Souls 3 in a while. Since before Elden Ring even came out, so it's been a while, and I'm thinking that maybe a refresher would allow me to rank them better instead of just going based off of memory. But we'll see. I don't know if I'm in a Souls mood right now after beating the DLC and spending hours and hours and hours beating Radahn. Um, but yeah, let me know what you guys think. What your top bosses are, or your least favorite bosses. Like if you agree with what I said, if you would swap anything. I'm totally open to opinions. I like to reply to every comment. Any comment that's comments that people made on my DLC tier list video, I replied to them and stated my opinion and everything. Um, but yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm going to be releasing my supermarket video, supermarket part 2, probably either tonight or tomorrow. This video should be coming out July 12th, hopefully. Um, and let me know if there's any other videos you want me to make. I can do more tier lists. I could do different style, rate my top 10. I could play through a game. I'm looking for ideas. I'm open to do a lot of stuff. Any games, anything like that, just let me know. But yeah, that's been my tier list video. If you guys liked, please like the video. If you guys like my content so far, please subscribe. It's only going to go up from here. Quality content, quantity of content's going to go up. Quality of content's going to go up. Everything. School's almost starting back up, so hopefully we'll be able to balance this in school. But I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.